minutes, and I'll tell you what the plan is for this morning. Maybe you know or read of her, but I resign effective at the end of today. So this is my last meeting. And what I plan to do is we'll go through our business meeting on the agenda, and then I'll have a few comments about a couple of things to you. And then I plan to open it up and take questions from you folks if you have any for a little bit. Commission can answer them, I'll answer them, Jenny can answer them. So that's what the plan will be. And I think, quite frankly, we can get through this business meeting in 45 minutes, you think?
Awesome.
45? You think?
30, 45.
I think we'll hope to be through all the business that we have here in about 45 minutes, but we still have some time, I think, to take some questions. Be respectful. It's teasing. Jenny, this is since you've been children numbers, the first part of the meeting. I can't remember.
November.
Well, no, that December. I don't think we have had a meeting.
So this is the first meeting we've had since
I believe so.
Jenny's been selected?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Better do good. Even things can change.
They can, that's true.
Daddy's birthday today was yesterday.
Yes, sir.
We were talking about Terry's birthday, and my baby said it was yesterday, and I said, no, that's Wednesday.
Inauguration day.
So I would know. I'm 6 Wednesday, and I'll get a notice a week ahead of mine. I thought it was exactly a week, but it's not.
Close. Pretty close.
Yeah, it sure is. You'll have to be.
Since we've been out of June, though, we have not. Hold on, wait a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock, and we have a forum, and I'll say Cliff is not with us because he had a memorial service that just came up that he is attending. He offered to call in for a minute to say hello, and I said it was at the same time, and I went, don't worry about that at all. So we do have a quorum, however, and so we are now ready to go to call of order and go to our business meeting. The first thing we have is approval of minutes from a number of meetings as both the commission and as the board of canvassers. And some of you may know we serve both as a commission to guide the agency, but we also serve as the board of canvassers, where we certify election results or recounts or re-elections as needed, runoff elections. But we have minutes from the 19th and 21st of November, December 2nd, December 30th, and January the 9th. We've had those minutes, had a chance to review them. I'm going to move that we approve those minutes. We'll have time for discussion, though. I move that we approve those 10 block. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Any corrections? Hearing none. The vote is on approving these minutes in block. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. They're approved. Okay, the new business. Jenny?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to give all of you a quick legislative update to start off with. There are a number of election bills that are seeing subcommittee hearings this week. We are working with legislative staff as they ask us questions, or members who've drafted the bills, just to provide any guidance or data that they might need. Just some informational purposes, if you'd like to know. There's some bills about standardizing special elections and municipal elections so that they fall on specific dates throughout the year instead of falling at any time based on the calendar.
You mean they'd all be voted on the same day?
Yes, sir.
Largely.
It would be, if there was a vacancy, then it would move to a quarterly calendar instead of it just being throughout the year as they come. So you'd hold the elections once a quarter instead of, having them randomly throughout the year. There's also some bills about closed primaries and voter registration by party affiliation. We provided some data on that. And then there's also a bill out there related to proof of citizenship requirement.
So when there's legislation, you provide sort of a help on it, but you don't take any position on it unless the commission decides the commission on it? Is that how you do it?
Yes, sir. We don't generally take a position, but we will offer information to the General Assembly.
Right.
So just wanted to make you all aware of that in case you had questions.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda is the annual voter list maintenance report, which you all have a copy of. And it's posted on our website if anyone would like to see it. This is a requirement that came about after 2022. It was put into law that we provide the General Assembly an update on voters who are made inactive, or address changes, things like that throughout the year. So we have compiled that information, and it was due last week, and we met the deadline and provided it to the General Assembly.
How, I asked this question other times, how confident are we that our list is accurate and up to date and doesn't have extraneous people on that list?
We are very confident it is as accurate as the data that we have available to us to check the list.
And you satisfied generally that that data is correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you have confidence. I've asked this question many, many times, I think it's important, but you have confidence, Jenny, that our list is in good shape and is accurate. I know it changes all the time. People die, unfortunately, and new people are registered and added to the list. Is that is it updated on a daily basis?
It's updated continuously.
Okay.
All the time.
But as far as any one point in time like now, you think our voter registration list is very, very accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I do.
Thank you.
Next item is just an update on the Executive Director Senate confirmation.
I asked Jenny to put this on because, as you may know, Jenny's been selected by the commission to be the executive director, but she has to be confirmed. That position has to be confirmed by the state senate. And I just asked her, not that she wants to talk about herself, but I wanted her to tell us where that process is.
Yes, sir. So I'm required to submit a confirmation packet to the Senate. That packet has been submitted. And so they are looking at it, and it's my understanding that they'll be in touch with questions, and at some point a hearing for confirmation will be set, but we do not have a date on that yet.
You'll have a hearing and then you have a confirmation vote?
Yes, sir.
Thinking it'll be close?
We'll see.
We don't think so. We don't think so. Okay. Anything else before we go to executive session?
No, unless there's questions, no, sir.
Is there any way we can do this? Do you want to talk about the election infrastructure security update?
Sure.
I'm going to do this because we're getting ready to move to executive session. I'm going to move to take up one item of old business, which is the election infrastructure security update. We'll do that. Then we'll go into executive session because all you folks have to step out for that. We'll handle that, and then we'll come back in and we'll give you an update on the Department of Justice and some other issues. I think that may be more convenient.
Sure. Always at every meeting, we just like to say that we are working with our partners in law enforcement at the state and federal level to make sure that our list is up to date as possible and that the elections are as secure as they possibly can be. And we're continuing to do that. That's all.
You don't have any questions about security or any of that? Okay. Thank you very much. I think now it's time to move to executive session. Yes, I'll take the vote. We are now coming out of executive session back into general session. We did not take any votes at all in executive session. Now, let me comment on a couple things. First of all, I want to say a word about Jenny Wooten. I asked her, I think this is the first public meeting that we've had since she was selected as the executive director. We had a very good process. Actually, Scott Mosley ran the process for the agency. You did a very fine job, Scott. We came up with a number of good candidates. We had a number of very fine candidates that we interviewed, and we selected Jenny. It was unanimous, and she's done a fine job both as interim and now as permanent executive director. She took over in a very tough spot. I knew Jenny would I knew she was a person of integrity, but I knew that she would be a good executive director when we got into that TD loan issue. And we directed Jenny to talk to TD Bank about what could be done about that arrangement. And I called her about 2 or 3 hours later, and she'd already talked to TD Bank about it, was already working on it, which I say may set a record for state government. I'm not sure, but and she's done a good job. She has the respect of a lot of people over on at the General Assembly. As you know, she has to be confirmed by the Senate, so that vote will be coming up at some point. I do think this. I will tell you this, just so the public knows, at the meeting where we selected and announced that Jenny had been chosen, the staff who was around applauded for her and for our decision. So I thought that was a pretty good sign. My experience now has been with staff that they are very pleased with it, and this is very much a different place, I think, for staff to be in and to work in. I've heard from a number of them. As to DOJ wanted to send us their template, their language they wanted for the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. Our staff has been dealing with DOJ, the commissioners. We haven't been involved. We get briefed and get updated. But this is sort of, at least the proposal that DOJ has offered us. It does a number of things that I think are good, and I'll summarize them. They seek less information than the commission has already shared with about 25 other states in a voter list sharing arrangement. They do not require that we give any driver's license information, which I think is a good thing to protect that private information. And I'm told by our technology staff that the protocols proposed in the arrangement for sharing the information are completely fine. That being the case, there's some other issues that staff is still working through with them, and we are not ready at this point to have any more public discussion, and certainly not a public vote on what we're doing. You know, our plan all along has been to have a public discussion of any agreement that we would enter with them, and then to discuss it in public, and then have a public vote on it. And we told the court that, Judge Coble, we told them that's what we were going to do. That's what we were always going to do. And I do think that it might be worthwhile, Thomas, if you can talk to the lawyers and figure out a way to update the court to let them know that we publicly told people where we are on it. There's no agreement, but I think that's in keeping with the spirit of what we were doing. This is what you told them to do. Let me say this, as you know, I'm going to give you a couple other pieces of news. The commission has been good to work with. This commission that I've worked with, commissioners, they've been good to work with. Very reasonable people across the board on everything. They've done a good job, and I know they'll continue to do a good job on the commission. I know they're working in the best interest of the people of South Carolina. I'm very pleased that this commission is not, as best I can tell, never has been, and I hope it never will be seen as partisan. My view is if it's seen as partisan, you lose some of the respect and the trust that the people of South Carolina have in us. And I think it's critically important. I've told staff, I've maybe told you folks before, I think there are 2 agencies, departments in South Carolina that require the utmost in integrity. Yeah, you want the Supreme Court to do right. Those things will take care of itself. But I think the Attorney General and this agency are the 2 that absolutely require integrity. The Attorney General, because that office has the power of law to prosecute people. And I think this agency, because this agency is the agency that gives the legitimacy to everybody else in government. And I think it's critical that it stays nonpartisan. And it has been nonpartisan. Now, I want to say something else before I go. I thought about this and I'm going to do it. I hope it won't embarrass them. Madeline Chavis and Elizabeth Harrell, lift your hand. Madeline, raise your hand. Elizabeth, raise your hand. Thank you very much. I just wanted to say something. Through the turmoil that we've had in this agency, we've had a number of good people, but these two people have been people of integrity, dedicated workers, people of character. I hesitate to raise their names because I don't want anybody being mad at them, but they should be acknowledged for that. And that's what they were, and that's what they have been. Anything else from anybody else? If not,
Just want to thank you for your leadership through an incredibly difficult time. And the commission really appreciate it.
would you call my wife and say it was really bad?
I know you put in a lot of hours, so I sympathize with her.
Well, tell her thank you too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Your time and expertise
I-
helping us through this.
Somebody asked me why I was grinning yesterday once I handed my letter to the governor, and I told him I was prepared to retire. It was a lot of work. I got caught in circumstances I did not expect. Maybe you'll see the letter I sent to the governor. I agreed to do this on a short-term basis to get us through the general election, to be sure nobody could challenge how the elections went. From either side, I was prepared to take on anybody. And if you've been in these meetings before, as I went with Jenny today, and I said, Jenny, are you comfortable that our list is good? Is it working right? I've asked that question repeatedly since I've been on the commission, because I think that's critical. And by the way, I think our list is good. DOJ wants to take a look at it. They may have the right to do that. Well, you heard that discussion again today. I think our list is in good shape based on what we hear. But I didn't plan to get into the other trouble that we had to get into. But I honestly think, and a couple of people said, that those people who knew me said, well, Dennis, you once you found out, you were not going to let go of it. And I didn't. And it was more turmoil and a lot more work than I thought. Because for a period of time, I'll tell you, for about 3 weeks, it was 12 to 18 hours every single day. And we're at the point that at one point, I didn't know who I could even talk to and trust at the agency. It was so interwoven with what was going on. I knew that I could trust a couple people, but I didn't want to call them because I didn't want to get them in any kind of subject of any kind of revenge or anything. But thank you for your comment. I think.
Well, Judge, I wanted to say, piggyback off what Joanne said. We thank you, speak for the staff here. You set the standard for integrity and accountability, and you leave us with a big shoes to fill. We look forward to the new chairman, but we appreciate your guidance and leadership during a time that I don't think any of us could have imagined. Having worked in state government, I think a lot of agencies would have fumbled, but with your guidance and leadership and the rest of the commission, we continue to do the good and important work that we do, and we will continue that, and we will miss you, but we understand you want to spend time with your grandchildren, and we're grateful for your service.
Thank you very much. And I know Jenny's the right choice because she read that speech just like I wrote it for her. Thank you, Jenny. With that, thank you very much. Let me say this. Some of the candidates that we talked to be executive director, they told us independently. They didn't know what each other was saying to us. They told us that from their positions in the state, when they dealt with this staff, they felt there was some real discomfort and something wrong at the staff level and the operation of this agency. People outside of the state in their datings have recognized that. And we came to it. But thank you very much. Okay, we have some time for questions if there are any questions about any of this.
Judge Shedd, Will Folks with Fitz News. I just wanted to say you've been very transparent, particularly in your dealings with the media in the aftermath of the Knapp saga. I just wanted to ask you, as you leave the agency, how important do you believe that ongoing commitment to transparency is going to be in restoring public faith in the commission?
I think it's important. And I'll tell you why. By the way, I'm not setting the standard for what the new chairman has to do. It's Mr. Bolges, and he's a fine person. He'll be the chairman the way that he wants to be. I thought those issues that we were dealing with, people could tell there was some upheaval going on, and that there were some issues with the commission. Those things and this DOJ MOU, they matter to the people of South Carolina, and I think they ought to know about it. I don't know for sure. I think other agencies, if they were to ask me, and they haven't, and they won't, I would advise them to do the same thing. Every 2 or 3 times a year, just have a meeting where you just talk to the press. Because, and I think let me say this back to the press. I think many members of the press were helpful in getting this story out and getting to a decent resolution of the matters. You didn't ask for this, but I'm going to give it a little lecture. I think it's completely silly for a press to waste their time on gotcha journalism. I know what happens. Somebody involved in it feeds somebody in the press some little piece of information, and then it becomes a gotcha. Well, what about this? Well, what about this? The bigger story is there are problems here, and we were trying to resolve them. That's the big issue, not gotcha stories. But I think the press that drove those bigger issues, I think they were very important. And I don't know where we ever came up with the idea that government shouldn't be transparent. I think it should be transparent. I don't know, Mr. Folks, maybe it's some people's style that they just aren't comfortable, talking to the press. I don't know. They're afraid they're going to be misquoted or be called names. I don't know what it is. I've been called a lot of names already. And maybe I'm at the end of my career and I don't think it's the truth, but maybe people look at it differently. I believe the people of South Carolina, who I have the highest regard for, they have a right to know. It's their tax dollars. It's their policies. They have a right to know what the folks are doing. The governor has press conferences. If the governor can do it, the president does it, if they can do it, we should do it. And I think it's important. I do think I was kind of surprised at how sort of shocked the press was when we started having kind of little press conferences and answering your questions. And now I know that they were kind of taken aback by it a little bit too, that somebody would be as open with you. But I think it's something that should be done. I would hope it would be a standard that other agencies would adopt. By the way, I want to make it clear, don't write a story that I'm attacking other agency heads. I'm not doing that. Everybody has their own style of doing it, but I do think it's worthwhile. And I really do think this now, it's a responsibility on the press to be responsible too, and not for gotcha and try to embarrass people, but just understand we're all, the humanity of it all, and understand somebody might misspeak once every now and then. People shouldn't be scared or think that people will mount some campaign against them. And I think accuracy is very important on some of these stories. I've seen some things that aren't accurate. And some I've seen turn out to be 100% accurate, and I've learned from the press information. I want to say one other thing. There's a sort of a two-sided view of whistleblowers. And I've always kind of wondered about whistleblowers. But I want to tell you, we had whistleblowers in this agency who shared information with me. Some did it openly, and some I still don't know who they are. In fact, as I accused them early on, maybe they were plants. They were trying to feed me information that wasn't true. And I think those people actually did a service to the agency and to the people of South Carolina, because they did come forward. I guess that'd be what y'all would sort of see as a source or something like that. But whistleblowers came forward and gave me specific information. I knew enough of that to know that they knew. But just like you can't trust a source 100% right. I didn't know, but I did some independent checking, and I will say the people, whoever they are, Maybe they'll read your stories tomorrow. They know I'm talking about them because I don't know who they are. But there are people in this agency who came forward with information, and I thank them for doing that, quite frankly. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Anybody? Yes.
Yes, Judge Shedd, and also Director Wooten, if you will. On January 9th, I believe in that time frame, the DNC, some lawyers with the DNC wrote to y'all and kind of expressed some concerns about the DOJ's request. Could you talk a little bit more about those concerns if you received the letter?
Now, wait a second now. Who wrote?
National Democrats, lawyers with the DNC. They
And
wrote that.
who are you with?
I'm with the Post and Courier.
Okay. And what do you want me to do?
I was wondering if you could respond to some of their concerns.
No. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
They may have concerns. I don't know that I would share their concerns. I have issues that I have with it, and I think it's a little bit, I don't know that letter. I haven't read that letter. I don't really care about that letter or the Republican committee letter. I don't care about any of that. We're doing, and by the way, we have good lawyers looking at this as well. And we all have looked at it, and we have issues that we care about too. I suspect a lot of them would be the same, but quite frankly, did you say Democratic? I have a little trouble hearing who.
That's okay, sorry. It's lawyers with the DNC. They addressed the letter to.
Okay, let me say this, and I wouldn't comment on it. You know why I wouldn't comment on it? I don't want to comment on any objections from a partisan group.
Okay.
If it were RNC, I wouldn't do it either. I really hope, I'll assure you that letter has been received and seen, and those things will be taken into account as you folks decide whether they're really good objections or not. We're not foreclosing any of that. We're not trying to preclude anybody from being involved. It's just, I just don't like the concept of anybody jumping in. And I'd say the same thing if the lawyers for the Republican National Committee had sent us a letter telling us they have no objection, sign it. I'm fine, they have their roles to play, but I don't intertwine that in anything we're doing.
Mm-hmm. And sorry,
I don't know what their objections are. We clearly, I don't know if they're objections, but we haven't reached a final resolution of what the agreement should look like. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so we still are talking to them.
Mm-hmm. And just a caveat, even if it wasn't the DNC, there's been concerns raised. But I know that you just kind of talked about to the extent that, I think you said 25 other states have data that you've already, the same data you've already shared. Was that over time? Was this recently? Or is this just, what about the 25
As
other
I understand
states?
it, we're in a current agreement that we currently are in that agreement.
Okay.
And the only thing that I know, and I've told you all that I know, is that I've been told, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that the information requested by DOJ is less than the information we share under that system with those other states.
That's correct.
That's all I can tell you. Yeah.
Since we were talking about transparency,
You have to tell me who you with now?
I'm Elena Moore with Palmetto State Watch. Since we were talking about transparency earlier, I was wondering if you confirm that the South Carolina Office of Attorney General, Inspector General, was completed or is working on completing an investigation into the election machine process and what those findings were. Purchase.
We don't have a report or anything.
They have been working on that issue.
Yeah.
And I would expect that they will come to a conclusion soon. I'll be honest with you, I just don't know enough about state law to know if that report becomes public or not.
Okay.
I get a sense that maybe they make the decision on that, or maybe they could do a synopsis. I've asked those questions. I'm just not sure about that. I do know this. They're very diligent and they're very thorough. And I think that I would not be surprised for them to finish their work if they haven't already done it, to do it soon. But how you would know that and what you get to see, I just don't know. Do y'all know anything to add to that?
We don't have a final report.
Do you know when you may be expecting a final report? Within a couple of
11
weeks?
o'clock today.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I'm teasing. No.
Okay.
And that's not typically how it works. They don't say, we'll have a report for you next time.